Hey, Katie here, and I wanted to just talk about digital marketing, but not in the normal idea of digital marketing of you must do it. It's more of an explanation of what it entails and the advantages and disadvantages of it, because you need to know the whole story, right? Um, I have clients who are, doing their website, they're doing email campaigns, they're doing video blogs, social media. And I'm like, yes, those are all fantastic. It's wonderful that you have multiple placement or marketing, digital marketing channels that you're trying to reach your audience. That's perfect. But when I ask them why they're using certain channels, what is their goal that they're trying to accomplish, there's usually like this blank look at me like someone told me to do it, or that was the trend that I read or listened to on a podcast. That's what I need to be doing. But they really don't know why they're doing it, except they just want to have sales. They want to have more customers. So that's when we kind of take a step back and we go, okay, we need to understand why you're doing what you're doing, because you might be doing something wonderful and great, but you need to be able to pull data from it to know, this is really working or not working or what we need to tweak. But you've got to be able to understand the purpose behind your methods and your madness. It's not always pretty. Sometimes it's just easier just to do because you've been told to do it. And shame on me if I've ever done that with a client. But we really need to understand your why so that we can better position your brand to be bigger and better out on the mad world of the internet. So digital marketing, like I was saying, just to understand, it's what you're doing, focusing on customers with the intent of converting them to be buyers, to engage them to be and make them buyers, and then hopefully at the end of the day, they'll be your best friend and loyal advocate out in the world, and talking the wonderful things about you to get other people to buy from you. But there's different channels that they can come and learn about you, and that would be your social media channels. That in itself has multiple options, say TikTok, Twitter, LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram, you name it, Pinterest, to name a few. And then you've got your website, which I consider the home base. It's like you want to have everything directed to your website, to capture and speak more eloquently to those that are visiting. You have a video, so that, like I'm doing right now, I'm doing a tutorial through video. You can do any type of video content and put it on multiple platforms, channels that we were just talking about, just to kind of give a visual, a how to or what not to. And this is a fantastic product. You must buy it now kind of video content. Email newsletters. So people subscribe. They say, yes, I'm going to know more about what you have to say, or I want to get some discounts, or I act like I'm interested, but we'll see. Maybe I might not open your email and then just unsubscribe. But those are all different channels, to name a few, that are all tied to being online. That's the word that's important for today, is online. It's using the internet to communicate with your customers or your audience base. Advantages of digital marketing: it reduces wasteful spending. Because it's digital, there's a lot of data that can be acquired through those interactions. It's a technology that will feed you, how people are engaging with you, what channels are they coming in at, more about those individuals. You can learn a little bit about, who they are as household, some of their tendencies and likes through what they are interacting with you on your website, and some of the other channels. It also, with the digital marketing being online, you can be very strategic when you're targeting. So you can be specific, like with your ad campaigns that are online. I want to reach XYZ, and I know that they're on this media channel the most, and I know that they are up late at night after putting kids to bed, whatever. Be very, very specific. So that's also goes back to wasting is not as much money as your traditional advertising. So that helps with your spending. You can utilize a lot of new technology to really pump up your brand, in ways that, we're not necessarily accustomed to if you're not a marketer. It gives you a lot of options on how to best place yourself in different channels. Technology is your friend, though. You need to use it to your advantage so you can learn more about who's interacting with you, buying or not buying, subscribing, unsubscribing, when they interact, and so forth. Your target audience being, again, another advantage of digital marketing. You can be very specific of who you're talking to. Traditional marketing, say television ads, you're getting in front of an audience that's a mixed bag. They might be interested in your product, they might not. You can't qualify them. Where digital, you can actually place your ad based on certain qualifications. Um, with that said, I want to talk about the disadvantages really quick, because it's always good, oh, yay, hooray, this is what I need to be doing. But you need to also consider a little bit more of the disadvantage if you don't do it the way you should. That's where people like myself come into play. We kind of fine tune your purpose for placement and outcome. So, for instance, content for your digital marketing. It's an advantage for digital marketing that when you put content out, it can, it can reach the masses very, very quick. Sometimes good, sometimes bad when that happens. But what you need to understand too is all of these marketing channels that you're participating in as a brand are all should have a same consistency, feel, tone, look. So depending if, I myself, I have multiple social media accounts and different ways that I shop. So I could come across a certain brand, say Target, in different manners, Instagram, website, application. As a consumer, I need to be welcomed by your brand target consistently, so that the colors are the same, the expectation of what I'll be engaging in on the other end when I, push a button or a link or what have you. So you need to be consistent. That's the disadvantage. If you don't, it will disrupt your buyer and you might lose them. Probably will, because you're questioning, wait a minute, this isn't what I was expecting. Oh, I thought this is what they had available. They had it in the storefront, but they don't have it on their website. So it even goes as deep as, product placement. You need to make sure that every channel that you're communicating with your brand on is consistent, and that it's representing you well in all of them. You never know when that consumer is going to come and want to learn more about you. It could be, 2 o'clock in the morning. It can be, 5 o'clock a.m. It could be times that you and I might be sleeping, but your digital presence is never sleeping, should never be sleeping, and should always be on the ready in its best outfit and biggest smile, ready to greet those customers. So make sure that you're approaching all of your channels that you have done research and that you have placed yourself on, all represent you appropriately, correctly, as well as up to date if you have some things changed, like business hours or how you're offering curbside delivery now. If you have it on your Google profile, that's fantastic. A plus for you, but you also need to make sure it's on your Facebook, your Instagram account, anywhere else that someone might want to know that information. Another advantage is the technology we talked about a moment ago. Digital is quick. It changes constantly. It's another reason why you should have someone on your team that is well versed and consistently. I know I go through education courses all the time. I just push through a TikTok, maybe, but I did just because I knew personally how to engage with TikTok, but as a business, what's best practice, what's really working, and what isn't working. But you need to understand, or have someone that's working for you that understands as digital changes. As a marketer, learning and keeping up with the technology and tools, it's a constant requirement. I've sat through recently someone else talking about digital marketing and what you should do or what shouldn't you do, and they kept talking about Facebook, and I'm like, wait a minute, Facebook, where's the rest of it? And why are we communicating about Facebook? Why aren't we talking about LinkedIn and TikTok? And they just hadn't caught up, because one, either they weren't they weren't comfortable, or they've been saying the same spill for the past 10 years. I don't know, but part of your marketing strategy should be constantly approaching it as part of a regular business process, and knowing, what am I doing now? Is it still working? That's where your data comes in. And are there other options or opportunities that I need to be engaging with online in a digital capacity? Don't just do it because everyone else says. Don't go throw out a TikTok real quick just because everyone else is doing it. It can actually hurt you in that manner. So the challenge or the disadvantage, if you want to call it, regarding the technology going so quick is that you've got to keep up with it, or have someone who is keeping up with it and knows best practice and is better positioning your brand than what you might, because you probably didn't get into business to learn how to best position Instagram story. But there's people that are in business to do that, and you need to be either having them as an employee, onboard them as a contractor, or regularly committing time to learning it yourself. But it needs to be part of your normal operations. Another advantage about the digital marketing was the spending. Did this the when I was talking about earlier about spending on, or talking about, when people are coming to meet you, you have to be consistent across. Well, also that comes back to the spending part. If you really have a strategy in place, you're less likely to spend money on things that are not working. Because if you did your homework, then it should be working. If it's really not working to, up to the level you're expecting, then maybe go back and do some more research, or do some what we call A/B testing. Change maybe a little bit about what you're doing with that platform, and see if maybe that gets you a better response. But when you are doing your homework, then you make better choices. That means you're spending less haphazardly, and that's always a benefit. But again, it comes back to you doing what you need to do to best position your brand when you're working with digital marketing. So, talking about the front end, how you're well dressed and ready at all hours of the day and night, and all channels available, because they're going to come at you and you need to be ready. So your brand needs to be front and center and pretty and smiling and ready to welcome them at any time. So it's consistent. Technology, making sure that you're investing in someone, or you with time, to help you keep up to date with what you need to be doing with your brand with technology. The targeted audiences, digital marketing tools, they provide you more customer reach by using specific tactics. That comes back to your technology. So that is another advantage. Just it kind of comes back to, why you're doing what you're doing, just to put it in more of a specific manner. you know Digital world, if you will, is very, very busy with lots going on. It's a crowded field, from, advertisers, brands, and just there's so much that's going online to capture someone's attention. It's harder for marketers to stand out. Marketers meaning you, if you have something to market, you're wanting to brand and talk about, communicate with an audience, it's hard for you to stand apart from everyone else when we're all in there trying to, elbow our way to capture someone's attention. And this is even when you're targeting your audience, that is a challenge. So you've got to find out, it comes back to doing homework again, what sets you apart from all those that are, in the same space as you. So say it's a competitor, or someone who's, offering a compliment to what you do and what you're offering. They're still trying to capture their money. They're still trying to capture their attention away from you. So you've got to understand, what are your strengths? How can you build out those strengths to solve problems for your buyers? So even though it's a challenge, if you will, that, digitally it's overloaded with options to capture the person's attention, it comes back to you. The better you know your why, who, and where, then the more defined your position will be, and your statement you want to make, and your ask that's being asked, and you're more likely to capture that customer and have them actually, spend time with you, spend money with you, and then become a loyal advocate and talk about you and your brand to their own network. So really, just again, digital marketing is key. It's one of the number one things that I have been speaking about for you to do anything with your business regarding marketing. you need to make sure that you are using digital marketing as your primary source of telling your story and selling your products, and making sure your audience knows why they need to be working with you, buying from you, listening to you. But if you do it, you need to do it well. You need to make sure that you're consistent, that you're using technology to your advantage to know about your customers, and that you are, your monies are better spent as you're testing these options, that it's spent where it needs to be spent. That means really understanding what's working, what's not working, and then, changing as you go. This is not a one and done. This is a constant that comes out of my mouth all the time. It needs to be part of your regular operations. It's not a, package it up, isn't it pretty? This seems to be working and put it on the shelf. That's not how it works. So understand, and then lastly, understand, what it is that sets you apart from everyone else, so you can better be seen and understood of why someone would benefit in buying or purchasing or listening from you. So wrapping it up, digital marketing is key. It's so important. You can have someone come in, like a brand strategist like myself, and review what you're doing, and give you feedback of, why, first thing I'll usually say is, why are you doing this? But then we'll give you some structure and strategy of how to better position yourself. I've actually walked away and said, you know what? I don't, your team's got it. Y'all are on target. You're doing what you're supposed to be doing. Keep at it. Just make sure that you're, regularly visiting this strategy and making sure it's still on target with what you're wanting to accomplish. And then always look and see if there's new opportunities or options to, add to your portfolio of marketing strategies to better position your brand. So just know that it's important. Stay focused on it. If you need help with it, Katie's here, and love to help you if you're needing it. But otherwise, take what I'm giving you with a grain of salt, that I don't know it all, but I sure do try to know a lot, and get to working on that strategy.